okay, in our business. And he had a very large mortgage operation with many people depending on him. He had a very large real estate operation. He had an amazing title company to tie that all together. He was a tycoon. And then 2008 happened. And all of a sudden, it vanished. But he kept a smile on his face. I was very impressed to hear his background and his story, and he can tell you all of it. But this guy just absolutely, his energy invigorates me, and I know it's going to invigorate you. I think you are in for a treat. You are this close to lunch. You guys ready for lunch? No, you're not ready for lunch. You're not ready for lunch. You are ready for the one, the only, the Mike Wilson, the real deal.
How is everybody? My team is very worried for me. I have all these notes, and I can hardly read any of them. My team thinks that's funny, because they know that they get from off-the-cuff Mike Wilson. So, never know what you're gonna get. I'm gonna put these up here. I don't know if I'll look at them another time. July 2013, I'm fired from my job. I'm completely broke. I have no money in savings. I drive home and I sit in my driveway trying to figure out how to tell my wife we're broke again. As Deanna said, in 2008, we lost it all. Starting from scratch, real estate business, mortgage business, real estate investments, title, motorcycle companies, landfills, coal mines, gone. Paychecks, gone. Trying to figure out what to do, very little options. I sent out hundreds and hundreds of resumes and applications. What I found was nobody wanted to hire an ex-president of his own company. Think about it. You're making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, and you're going to somebody saying, "I'd like to take this W-2 job for 80 grand." Do they think you're serious? Do they think you're just waiting for the very next thing and then you're going to leave? Of course. And it's true. Didn't change the fact, though, that I needed the job. What I wanted was to give up all of the risk of being self-employed and go back to all of the security that is corporate America. A couple of you guys laugh, because a couple of you get it. 3 months later, after finally getting a job, the only job that I can land, selling in-home cremation sales. Yeah. And I got fired. Trying to figure out what I was going to do. That was the best day of my life. One of them. 3.5 years later, I've made $750,000. I've won 3 trips to Hawaii, to Costa Rica. I've gone to the elite training school that is Tiger School. I've been given an award for having the top 10 base shops in all of WFG. And you're wondering, how does a guy that had zero background in financial services do that? I'm going to tell you. I suggest you grab out your notebooks. You might want to write a couple of these things down. I am talking about, think about it. I am talking about the art of the KTP and our 6-step financial needs analysis. So you saw some of that in the previous presentation. What do we do? How do we help families? What is the KTP? When I started, there's all these things. There's the KTP, the BPM, the BMP, like this stuff. Kitchen table presentation. This is where we help families. We go in and we sit down with people and we educate them about our business and how money really works. A lot of people don't know the things that we talk about. The things that I'm going to talk to you about, the questions that I've got for you, are you really even serious about what we're doing? I mean, some of you, if I have permission to have like the real conversation, no fluff, is that okay?
Yes.
Some of you should probably go to lunch right now. Some of you aren't really serious about what we do. What do we do? We're financial professionals. I am a financial doctor. I look at people's problems. I come up with solutions and recommendations and courses of action. But I didn't have any background in financial services, so how did I do that? Well, our company has a system. It's got training unbelievably better than the industry. We're one of the few non-captive financial planning companies in the country. And if you don't know how important that is, you've missed the boat. We're non-captive. When I sit down and there's good companies, there's great companies, they employ great people. The Merrill Lynch's, the Raymond James, the Charles Schwab's, the Northwest Mutuals, the Edward Jones, they have good people working for them. But unfortunately, a lot of them are just misinformed. They just don't know. They don't realize that I can do everything that they can do. They just can't do everything I can do. Does that make sense? So if they're not recommending a solution, it might be because they don't have that solution in their toolkit. They might not have ever even been educated on it. It's not that they're evil. It's not that they want something bad for their clients. They just don't know. How many books do you read? How educated are you on your industry? You heard the gentleman from Hanlon. I'm like, yes. Like maybe you want to speak the financial professional language. Maybe that'd be a good start. Maybe you should read some books. See, the things that I do are different than other people. I mean, you can always look at people and say, well, man, why does that guy have this, and why does he have that, or why does she do this? You've got to look. We're going to talk about psychology. We're going to talk about human nature. We're going to talk about work ethic. We're going to talk about math. We're going to talk about passion. Are you passionate about what you do? If you are not passionate about this industry and helping people, you are free to go to lunch right now. If you're not passionate about helping people, learning these things, I suggest you become a referral agent in our business. I suggest you let the professionals take care of this. As people on my team say, we're not selling cell phones, folks. This is only everybody's retirement. It's only all of their money in the whole wide world. Do you take it that seriously? I do. I don't care how old you are. As I scan through the crowd, I see some 18-year-olds. I see some 60-year-olds. Math is based in science, correct? 2 plus 2 is? 4. No, wait, are you sure? Wait, 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 2 plus 2 is what? 4. 60-year-olds, 2 plus 2 is? 4. Holy cow. So I guess it doesn't really matter then when I'm talking to clients and they're like, well, wait a minute, you're awful young. Yeah, I didn't write the computer program, folks. Like, it's just explaining to you what's on it. You're saving this much money. At age 65, you're going to retire with $19,000. I can't afford to retire on $19,000. I need $60,000. Scroll, scroll, scroll. You can retire at 83, sir. I don't want to retire at 83. Then we're at an impasse. You need to put more money into the machine, or these are the numbers. It's just math. And it doesn't matter who's explaining that, correct? You guys agree? Yes. So stop using your age as an excuse why you're not selling more and helping more families. Right? Can I get an amen, Dan?
Amen.
Human nature, influence, laws of reciprocity. What are you reading these books? Are you understanding what's going through people's mindsets? See, we do a 6-step financial needs analysis, right? Do you guys know what's in the 6-step financial needs analysis? I've got one if you don't know. I put the whole thing up here. When we sit down with a client, your speech, your conversation probably goes something like this at your office BPM. So I'm going to go through the 6-step financial needs analysis. I'm going to explain to you kind of really what we do. As I go through these things, think in the back of your mind, could you or anybody you know benefit from these things? Does that sound familiar? Yes. Great. Your conversation's a little bit different. Dante, Elizabeth, as I go through this, think to yourself, do you know everything about this step? Are you an expert at that step? When your client comes in, Maria, and says, hey, I've got a question, it's on cash flow. What is cash flow? Well, that's our budgeting phase. That's where we make more, we spend less, right? Do you have a budget? Do you operate on a written budget? Have you ever gone through the pain of trying to put together a budget and actually following it? Did you ever take the little notebook out and every single day for 30 days track every single penny that you've spent to see where it goes? If not, maybe you should be a referral agent. Maybe you're not really serious about learning how to budget and teach people about it. There's a special word in the English language that we use for somebody who tells people one thing but then does another. It's called a hypocrite. Have you ever been through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University? Have you ever gone through Crown Ministries? Have you ever learned to budget? Do you have budget forms? Have you gone out and done that? If not, I suggest you do. Have you ever read books on budgeting and how to create budgets? If not, I suggest that you do that. Step 2, debt management. Debt snowballs, debt stacking, getting people out of debt. Do you understand debt settlements? I was flipping channels on YouTube and I saw Guillermo, and he was talking about a company helping people settle debts when they're in trouble. Has anybody ever had a client that has debt and they don't have enough money to pay the bills? Yeah. And they're saying, I don't know if I should file bankruptcy or not. Do you know what chapter 7 is? Do you know what chapter 11 is? Do you know what chapter 13 is? Do you know what the ramifications are? Do you know how to rebuild credit? Do you know how to get improper things off of credit bureaus? Do you know how to get them out of debt? Have you ever had to call a credit card company and tell them, hey, you want to try to negotiate a cheaper payment for your client? Some of you have, some of you haven't. Have you ever read a book on it? Have you ever taken a course on it? Nathan in our class, in our office, he runs our Carmel office. He teaches financial peace at great personal cost to his family because it takes a lot of time to teach that course. But Nathan's passionate about it. He's passionate about teaching people how to do these things. And oh, by the way, guess what? He goes through them as well. Every single time he teaches a class, he's going through it. Do you think Nathan knows more than you do probably about the topic? Probably. Emergency fund. For the love of God, do you even have one? Most people don't. 65% of people don't have $1,000 saved up for an emergency. Really? So what do? Charge it. Boom, we're back to the next step. How do you get them started? See, a lot of people love Dave Ramsey. I like 80% of Dave. We differ a little bit. Hey, put all your money, pay off all your debts first. Just save $1,000. Man, I think we need more than $1,000. I don't want to put everything towards debt. I don't want to put everything towards retirement. I don't want to put everything towards the emergency fund. I think we should have some balance in life. Try to accomplish multiple goals at one time. Do you know how to create an emergency fund? Where are you going to put it? Are they putting it in their mattress? Are they putting it in silver and gold? Are they putting it in a savings account? In their safe? Are they buying market-based CDs? Do you even know what that is? If not, Google it. Did you go to Albert's brother and you're getting 0.01 like I did? There's not a big difference between 0.01 and 1, unfortunately, on long term. Proper protection. What did you see this morning? All these product providers. Life insurance, long-term care, disability, Everest, Bolt. Do you really know how to get these? Have you not used Bolt? Have you not gone through and gotten somebody a quote on their homeowners or auto insurance? I talk every Tuesday night. When I was 16, I got a guy. My buddy said, hey, do you have homeowners or auto insurance yet? I said, no. He goes, oh, come down, I've got a guy. And so he took me down to his guy, and then his guy was my guy. So now I've got a guy. This guy was my guy for 14 years. And he was a great guy, and he did a great job. And when my windshield cracked or somebody broke into my car and stole out all my cassette tapes, they reimbursed me. So, I'm standing in my house one night when telemarketers were allowed to call at whim, and this guy calls and says, hey, you want to get a free quote on your homeowner's insurance, on your auto insurance? I said, no, I got a guy. I don't need it. Bobby, I got a guy. He goes, it's a free quote, dude. I'm like, all right, fine, give me a quote. 50% cheaper. 50%, and this is a big name company. It was actually, I think, number 2 behind Voya on that previous slide you saw earlier. I didn't know there was that much markup from one company to the next. How would I? I didn't take any of these classes in high school. I didn't take them in college. My dad didn't teach me how to buy auto insurance. Do you pick the coolest mascot? I mean, what? Do you know how to do this stuff, guys? Do you have people who do P&C work? Do you even understand some of this stuff? Disability, all of these things? If not, man, you better get educated. You better call Crump. You better call Mueller. You better call these guys and say, teach me, because I really want to know. I don't want to be one of those guys that's just saying, hey, I don't know, see what we can do. Building wealth. Are you just an insurance salesman? See, I'm not an insurance salesman. I have an insurance license, but I'm a financial professional. Insurance is one of the tools that I use. But guess what? I have never really had anybody come up to me and say, man, oh man, I would like to save some money and I would like to use insurance as the tool to do that. People don't really see, maybe you guys get those calls. I don't get those calls. Do you understand IULs? Do you understand ULs? Do you understand BULs? Do you understand managed money? Maybe you need to sit over there and have that conversation with Hanlon. Do you understand income replacement and annuities? Do you understand the difference between variables and indexes? Man, you better be a professional at these things. Because when you're fired up, when your passion matches my passion on this stuff, then you're going to be where I am. When you get up when I get up, when you read what I read. Christina started reading some of the books that I read. She said, man, that's a really good book. I said, I know, I posted that on Facebook back in September. I thought it was a great book back then. And she's like, I know, but I'm just now reading it and it's amazing. And I'm like, I know. I've had several people come up to me like, man, I really appreciate your book lists of all the books that you're reading and the audio books and what you're teaching. Preserving wealth. Do you even talk about this section? Do you do anything with it? Or when people come to your BPM, are you just trying to recruit them into the business and sell them a little bit of life insurance? Do they need a trust? Do you understand trusts? Jake came into my office, he had some questions. He says, hey, this whole asset protection thing, I don't understand it. I said, over there, middle shelf, bottom book, there's 2 of them, pick them up, protecting your assets, understanding estate planning, read them, come back, we'll talk about questions. There's resources. You've got to look into this stuff. Do you need a will? Can you, if you got a client and they say, hey, I'm going to set up this life insurance policy, and they say, great, who do you want? Let's say that it's a single mom. And you say, great, okay, if I die, who do I want to have the money? My kids. Wrong answer. They're minors. You can't give it to them. Unless you just love dealing with the court system, because that's what you've got now. You got to be a professional. You got to understand this stuff. Does that make sense? Yes. Say yes. Yes. All right. Psychology, human nature. You got to create value. If you go into somebody's kitchen table, and again, as you can probably already see, I'm not going to talk to you about how to drive up to the home, who knocks on the door, whose car you drive, where do you sit. Your SMD, your trainers can teach you that stuff. I'm going to talk to you about the other stuff. If you're not getting a second appointment, it's because you didn't create value. Bottom line. They did not find value in what you did. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use some Jedi mind tricks. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Some people have some lines like, oh, hey, you got to do this, and then we're going to come back no matter what, and I'm going to give you your plan. And those appointments, sometimes they cancel. Oh, yeah, I can't make it. They keep rescheduling. Why? Because they didn't find value in it to start with. Oh, my wife can't be here. Oh, well, I need to meet with both of you. Really? Timeshare people need to meet with both of you. Right? If you say the spouse has to be there, you might as well just tell them, I sell timeshare. Because that's what they think. They already don't know, right? They already have you coming in going, okay, these guys are coming into my house to talk about what? What are they talking about when we come in? Money, right? Should your guard be up? Yes? Get the energy up, folks, or I'm going to talk louder. That's human nature. If they're not worried, if their guard is not up, something's wrong. They should be concerned. You need to take that guard down with some mutual agreements. Hey, Shannon, we're going to talk to you about some stuff tonight. If at any time I'm going through this stuff, and this isn't really for you, or I kind of determine that it's probably not a benefit for you, are you okay if we just kind of nix it right there? Would that be okay? Hey, we're going to be here for about 45 minutes to an hour. But just to put you at ease, you don't need your wallet. You don't need to sit here like this. You don't need to hold your purse. You can't buy anything tonight. We just don't do business that way. So I just wanted to set your mind at ease. Are you guys okay with that? Yes. If you have that mutual agreement and you are still there 2.5 hours later, you've lost all credibility. Maybe you walked in with no credibility. Why would you walk in with no credibility? The way you're dressed, the way you look, you were late. Man, oh man, you better not be late. You better be everywhere early. If you're my field trainer and I'm the trainee and you show up late, holy cow, I've just lost all credibility with this training appointment. They're like, man, who is this guy? He's not even here yet. What's the deal? That makes sense? So you've got to create value. People talk about scare tactics, man. I tell you what, JT, you better be worried, man. Market's going to crash any day. We got to move it all. We got to move it all right now. I don't know when it's going to crash, but it's probably any minute. You guys laugh because I'm serious. Don't use scare tactics, but do educate them. Is market volatility something real? Like Hanlon talked about, are you a financial professional? Can you enunciate that? Can you talk educationally about that? Do you understand why the P/E ratios are 27.98? And that's high. Do you understand that market participation is at an all-time low while the volume's at an all-time high, creating a massive bubble? If I'm speaking Greek, you need to look at some graphs. You need to buy me a beer later and I'll educate you. Influence. You should have an ugly wingman. Some of you are wondering, like, where's he going with this? Psychology of comparison. So I can't use Nathan as an example because he's a Marine. I mean, he's just too good looking. If a girl walks in the bar that's normally really, really attractive, but a supermodel walks in first, now she looks like she got hit in the face with a bag of hammers. Although if the supermodel wasn't there, this chick would have been a 10, right? That's the law of comparison. It works with money as well. So it works with anything, something that either tastes great or it's less filling, I don't know. If I start by saying, hey, this is only $100, and then this one's only $250, and this one's $500, like, oh my gosh, $500 seems so much more expensive now because I started all the way down at $100. But when I'm presenting numbers, if I start with $1,000, hey, let me show you, Elizabeth, what $1,000 a month saving in one of these retirement vehicles would look like, and you'll have this much money. And so now, if you could back that down to maybe like $700, well, $700 would be way better. Because $700 doesn't seem like a lot of money because I started with $1,000. Does that make sense? The takeaway. God, I hope you guys are taking it away. I hope you're not giving it away. You guys are giving away your time. You guys are giving away your credibility every time somebody cancels on you and you're like, okay. When would you like to get together? My schedule's wide open, whenever you want. Right? And I look at your calendars, and they are wide open. Man, I can meet you anytime. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You want to meet for breakfast, lunch, dinner? I don't sleep. I'll meet you wherever, any. And so they cancel, and they reschedule, and and you allow them to. Somebody cancels. Hey, is this still a priority for you? Because I know you rescheduled. My time's important. I value your time. Again, remember, mutual agreement. You know, we talked about if this wasn't for you, or if I didn't think that this was a good fit for you, we could just go ahead and stop the process. Do you want to get off the train? I mean, is this something that you're no longer interested in? Make them sell themselves back on why you should be meeting with them. I tell you what, I got some time at Thursday at like 10:30. If you can make that work, I think we can get back together. Otherwise, it's going to be next week. I don't care if you have nothing going on the entire week. You only have one time slot available. Respect yourself. Respect your time. It is valuable. Because when you're doing that, you're stealing time away from your family instead. Because you're sitting in the office running no appointments, and the people at the spousal breakfast this morning are going, yeah, they seem to be always gone, but I don't see the paychecks. Because the KTP is where you get your paycheck. The KTP is where lives are changed. Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, just so I can kind of see where we're at. 10 Bobby being, man, this is for me, like I can't wait to get started with something immediately. And 1 being, I think we've completely missed the mark. I don't find any value in that. Where are you at right now with this? So I can kind of see, does this make even sense for us to keep going? Does this make sense?
Yes.
Willpower. Willpower, great book. I'll finish on this because my time's about up here. Willpower is a muscle and it wears down. That's why after a long day, you go home and kick the dog and yell at the family. That's why Bill Gates always would wear the same thing. Because he didn't have to make these choices. The more choices you make, the more it wears your willpower down. So when you go to the grocery store, man, you got to make all these decisions. I got to pick this organic, and I'm looking at this box, and this one's a little bit more expensive. And after an entire hour, and kids yelling and throwing stuff in the cart and all these things, you are worn out. I'm done. Let's just get to the checkout. And what's at the checkout? All the crap. The gum and the magazines and the guilty pleasures and the candy bars. You're like, yeah, just give me 2 candy bars and a couple of these things. Because my willpower has been worn down. If you call to confirm your appointment and that's what you hear on the phone going, yeah, I mean, it's been an exhausting day, but yeah, just go ahead and come over. Hey, why don't we reschedule? That appointment's going to go nowhere. Because the choice they're going to make is going to be the choice to say, I can't even make any more choices about whether this is good or I'd be interested in the business. I mean, I know I should be able to make these decisions. I just can't right now. Reschedule. Give yourself a shot at it. But you got to read books. If you haven't read the book Influence, Smugglers, Bunglers, all of these things, you've got to understand that everything that we do is based in psychology. It's based in human nature. The Hare Krishnas understand this. They're like, I'm going to give you a flower. Here's a flower. You're like, I don't want the flower. Like, no, it's a gift to you. You can just make a donation back to us if you like. Well, the law of reciprocity says I have to because you gave me something. And so now I feel obligated to do that. Well, people caught on to the Hare Krishnas. And so they would just drop the flowers. No, I am not taking your gift. I do not want it. I do not eat green eggs and ham. I do not want that. And so the Hare Krishnas, knowing that they weren't taking the flowers and people were just dropping them in the airport, you know what they started giving people? An American flag, Nathan. A little American flag pin. Because you're not going to drop that. Ooh, that's dirty. They smuggled influence. Read the book, you'll understand that. Learn how these things affect you. Learn about these psychology things and how you can leverage these in your business. Are you giving away your credibility? Are you taking things away? Do you have value? When you understand these things, when you understand the things that I educate my team on, you will write business. You will help families. People will be in a better place because they met you. Thank you.